WB2LMV and 2FW. I'm the same with you there, Glenn. I can't go running around in shorts. I saw some fella before we left. He was in shorts and a short sleeve shirt. I mean, it was whipping. The wind goes right through you. No doubt about it. And that's really it. It's sunny skies. I guess we're supposed to get some wet weather towards the latter part of the week. What else? Oh, I found a fella. Well, I called up my mechanic. First I went to a locksmith just to more or less ascertain if they could do the codex. I guess it's codex, so they got to do a code thing on the key. So he never called me back, and then I called my guy that I bring the car in. And he says, John, no worries, just bring it in. If we could have that cloned in 15 minutes. Why go to the dealership? I have two keys, but this one, I think I told you yesterday, I put a blank on eBay for like $6. I mean, it'll start the car, but it's not programmed, and then it shuts down. So I didn't realize that until I had it on the ring. I should have put it in a... Anyway, I have it in the car, and I'll bring that in probably, tomorrow. There's no rush. I have my second key over at my son-in-law's. And detailing, he says, don't go to those guys. We have a guy that comes here. He does the right thing. So we're going to get the car all square rooted with the detailing. We'll do that at the latter part of the week. And that's the story. We're going to go for a walk soon. And there's no red tide here, but they're really banging the heck out of Red Tide Rick. With the elections and everything that's coming up, the midterms. Oh man, they're dashing the sky like 7 ways to Sunday. WD2LNZ N2FWR. Speaking of the red tide, I remember before you left Florida, when did you come back? Was it May? Yeah, because in April we were still getting those nor'easters, and I think you were in Florida yet. May you came back, and it was the red tide. You said you couldn't even go outside. It was so bad. All dead fish and everything from the red tide. I remember that, and I was wondering about that. Is it gone? So I guess it's gone and it's all over with now. Is it something that happens like certain times of the year? I don't really know much about it. But yeah. Now as far as that key goes for the car, I was under the impression that somebody told me something, or I heard it somewhere, that you got to get those keys special from the dealership. Like if something happens to your key, you said you got to go to the dealer. You just can't go to a key place and have a second key made up. They're special of some sort. I wonder, John, what year is that car? And the reason why I asked, I wonder how computerized it is. What year is the car, John? WB to Olympic, back to you. WB2LMV and 2FWR. It's a 2005. And you can't go to a regular locksmith, which I did. I just went there just to kind of, ask him, to check the battery and everything. But he said to me, if you could open up the car doors and lock the windows, roll down the windows, and all that good stuff, it's definitely not the battery. This was never programmed. It was like more or less like a knockoff, I guess you could say, for the 300M Chrysler. You can go on eBay and you can pick up these keys with the guts and everything in it, computers, but they have to program it. It's an old Windows program that they have to download the file and they kind of transfer it to the actual chip. So once they program the chip, you're good to go. It could take 15 minutes or it could take as long as 2 hours because of the age of the car and the program. So it's like one of the first Windows program that they came out for Chrysler, or generally speaking, Chrysler products. But you can pick up the key for a few bucks, but if you go to the manufacturer, the dealership, I should say, they'll hit you on the head for a couple $100, and it's not really worth it. I just needed it really to open up the doors. I mean, the alarm and everything won't go off. If it's engaged with the original key, then it will go off, and then you won't be able to shut the car off. Or you have to put the key in the door, outside the door, and then turn it, because I couldn't shut the alarm off one time. I triggered it, and I drove about a half a mile to a gas station, and the fella says, just give me a key. I told, I came in there with the hood open. He said, no. He says, just give me the key. So you could disengage, or you could disarm it from the outside, which I never knew. That's the first time that ever happened to me. And on top of it, I got pulled over by a sheriff's office, and I explained to him, and he says, no problem. But, yeah, it's a 2005, over. Yeah, I think, like from 2000 on, they started with all the computer stuff, if I'm not mistaken. My wife, her car is an Impala. It's a 2001. We have kept that thing in the garage, man. It's like 2001. It only has 57,000 miles on it, and it's in pristine shape. You go inside the interior, it's like it just came out of the showroom. We only use it once in a while, but we take it out at least once a week just to keep it going and all. But that car, man, it's got a lot of computer stuff in it, and it's an '01. So I think from 2000 on. Now, one of my friends locally here is a mechanic. He says, I think it was 2013 that they really started with all the fancy-dancy stuff, like the cameras and the warnings when you get too close to things like your new car has. That lane departure and all that stuff. I think that started in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. That's what he said. But back then you didn't have all that yet. And it makes you wonder, you see all these cars like that new one you just got back in Queens there. What are they going to have like 20 years from now? Yeah. We might be around to see it, who knows? But, can you imagine like 20 years from now what's going to be possible with cars and things like that, John? And to FWR, WB, to LMP. You'd be to LMV and to FWR. Yeah, I can't even imagine. You're right. Well, I'm sure there'll be more electric cars like with the Teslas. And then I heard some scuttlebutt about the Teslas also. I had no idea that the whole body, I guess the undercarriage, is a battery. I don't know how true that is, or maybe I misunderstood, but from what I hear, the batteries are thousands of dollars. And it came up in a discussion over our board if we wanted to put in charging stations for the electric cars. So I think, we're a little bit ahead of ourselves right now. We have to more or less take down those carports, establish emergency lighting for the temporary shutdown of all the lighting that's underneath the carports. These are like, it's a carport with a tin roof on top, or slanted, and it's open, it's not closed, and the drains, how ridiculous it was. Well, that was way back when. They have the drains from the roof that goes down right into the carport, and then spills into a walkway, or I should say the stall, for a better word, where you park your car. So we had this engineering group came out last year, and they said, well, look, we'll sketch up a plan for you. And the plan looked pretty good. But there's so many caveats on this. You have to have a general contractor with more than 2 trades working at the time. So it's electrical involved. The drains have to be buried. So they got to rip up the tarmac, or a tarmac. The whole back has to be ripped out. And they have to bury these drains and tie them into the storm basins. So that's going to be a lot of cabbage, I think. So they said about $350,000 just to do the 54 carports. But that's not including burying the drains. So I'm going to say at least another $150. It's about $500,000 to do the 54 carports. And you can't go down a carport according to the rules and regulations and the bylaws and the deed, the way everything is set up. You have to still have 54 carports, and then there's about another 100 spots for guest parking. I don't park under there anymore because the car, gets all this